Hey there, welcome back to CEO Podcast. Today we're diving headfirst into a journey that, I promise you, will challenge everything you think you know about success, controversy, and the fragile nature of an empire. Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to build a multi-billion-dollar brand from the ground up? And then, what if I told you that same person, through a series of stunning and, frankly, self-inflicted wounds, managed to watch a significant chunk of that empire crumble? It's a story of audacious vision, unparalleled creativity, and ultimately, a spectacular fall from grace that serves as a cautionary tale for anyone in business. Before we jump in, if you're hooked by stories of ambition, innovation, and the raw truth behind the headlines, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what we've got coming next. All right, let's just get straight to it. Imagine this: a creative genius, a musical icon, a fashion disruptor, a man who once declared himself the greatest artist of all time, and then, unbelievably, built a fashion brand that was valued at over $2 billion. We're talking about Kanye West. Or as he's legally known now. Yeah, but here's the kicker: the surprising fact that will grab you. For a time, he was making an estimated $220 million annually from just one of his partnerships. Can you even fathom that? What kind of mind, what kind of hustle builds something so monumental? And more importantly, what then causes such a colossal public unraveling? Stick with me, because this story is a roller coaster. So who is Kanye West really? Beyond the headlines, beyond the controversies, there's a foundation. Born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1977, Kanye moved to Chicago with his mother, Dr. Donda West, when he was just 3 years old after his parents divorced. His mother was a brilliant English professor, and his father, Ray West, was a former Black Panther and one of the first Black photojournalists at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. This wasn't a silver spoon upbringing, not by a long shot. Growing up on Chicago's South Side, Kanye was steeped in a rich cultural environment, one that undeniably shaped his artistic sensibilities. He showed an affinity for the arts incredibly early, writing poetry at 5, rapping in 3rd grade, and selling his own musical compositions by 7th grade. Can you imagine that kid? Already a hustler, already an innovator, even before he hit puberty. But here's the thing: for all his early creative spark, Kanye's initial path to fame wasn't as a rapper. He started as a producer, honing his craft in the mid-90s, making beats for local artists in Chicago. He had a distinct style, the chipmunk soul sound, characterized by those sped-up soul samples. He moved to New York in 2001, and that's where he really made his mark, becoming a sought-after producer for Rockefeller Records, most notably working on Jay-Z's iconic album, The Blueprint. He was the guy behind the scenes, crafting the sound. He was good. Really, really good. Now you'd think with that kind of talent, the doors would just swing open, right? Wrong. This is where the struggle truly begins for Kanye the artist. He was a phenomenal producer, but he had a burning desire to be a rapper, to be in front of the mic, to share his own voice. And nobody, and I mean nobody, wanted to sign him as a rapper. Think about that. The man who would go on to win 24 Grammy Awards, who would redefine hip-hop for a generation, was told he wasn't street enough, that his middle-class background didn't give him the credibility to rap. He faced constant rejection. Labels wanted his beats, but they didn't want him on the track. Can you imagine the frustration? To know you have something extraordinary to offer, to feel it in your bones, but to have every gatekeeper slam the door in your face? He even got into a car accident in 2002 that nearly killed him, shattering his jaw. And what did he do? He recorded Through the Wire with his jaw wired shut. That's the level of pure, unadulterated grit we're talking about. He wasn't just talented, he was relentlessly determined. This wasn't just about music, it was about proving them all wrong. It was about defying expectations, about carving out his own lane where none existed. That tenacity, that stubborn belief in his own vision, would become a defining characteristic for better or worse. So how did a producer who fought tooth and nail to be a rapper pivot to building a multi-billion-dollar fashion empire? This is where the story gets really interesting. Kanye released his debut album, The College Dropout, in 2004, and it was a smash hit. He proved everyone wrong. He became a superstar, an undeniable force in music. He founded his record label, GOOD Music, signing artists like John Legend and Big Sean. He was at the top of the music world. But Kanye, being Kanye, was never content to stay in one lane. He had always been deeply interested in fashion, even before his music career took off. He'd talk about it in interviews, about wanting to break into that world, about his frustrations with how fashion viewed him, or rather, didn't view him as a serious designer. He was passionate, sometimes to the point of obsession, about clothing, about aesthetics, about creating. The real turning point for his fashion empire, specifically Yeezy, came through a series of strategic collaborations. He had early forays with brands like Louis Vuitton and Nike. But it was his partnership with Adidas, formalized in 2015, that truly ignited the fuse. Think about it, an established sportswear giant, a global brand, collaborating with a controversial, often unpredictable musician. It seemed like an odd pairing to some. But Kanye brought an unparalleled level of hype, a unique design sensibility, and a cult-like following that Adidas couldn't buy. He wasn't just designing shoes. He was creating a cultural phenomenon. The Yeezy Boost sneakers, with their minimalist design and comfortable Boost technology, sold out instantly. They created a frenzy. Resale markets exploded. Suddenly, Yeezy wasn't just a sneaker line. It was a movement. This wasn't just a simple licensing deal. Kanye had a deep level of creative control, and he leveraged his personal brand, his musical influence, and his innate understanding of hype to build something truly unique. He transformed from a musician with a side hustle in fashion into a bona fide fashion mogul, proving yet again that he could not only break down doors but build new, incredibly lucrative ones. The Adidas deal was reported to give him an 11% royalty, and with revenues hitting over $1 billion, you can do the math. That was the engine of the Yeezy empire, a true game changer. So how exactly did Yeezy become a $2 billion empire? It wasn't just sneakers, though they were certainly the crown jewel. Kanye's vision for Yeezy was always much larger than footwear. He envisioned it as a full lifestyle brand, encompassing apparel, accessories, and even architecture through Yeezy Home. The genius of Yeezy, especially in its prime, was its scarcity model. Kanye intentionally limited supply, creating immense demand and a perception of exclusivity. This fueled the resale market, which in turn amplified the brand's allure. People weren't just buying a shoe. They were buying a piece of culture, a status symbol. Beyond the Adidas partnership, Kanye had other ventures under the larger Yeezy umbrella. There was Yeezy Supply, his direct-to-consumer online portal, which allowed him to control the distribution and narrative. He also had Donda, his creative agency, named after his late mother, which handled everything from design to branding and cultural innovation for various projects, not just Yeezy. He even dipped his toes into food ventures with KW Foods LLC, investing in restaurants like Fatburger. At its peak, Forbes estimated his net worth to be around $2 billion, with the vast majority of that tied to Yeezy and the Adidas collaboration. His music catalog, his real estate holdings, his various investments, they all contributed, but Yeezy was the engine, the driving force behind that eye-popping valuation. He wasn't just a celebrity endorsing a product. He had built a legitimate, massive fashion house with global reach and a rabid following. Now, we can't talk about Kanye West's journey without addressing the elephant in the room. This is where the story takes a sharp, painful turn. For years, Kanye has been known for his outspokenness, his provocative statements, and his unpredictable behavior. But starting in late 2022, a series of increasingly anti-Semitic remarks, alongside other erratic public appearances and his controversial "White Lives Matter" t-shirt, triggered a cascade of consequences that proved catastrophic for his business empire. His partners, who had tolerated years of what some called problematic behavior, including allegations of creating a toxic work environment and even showing pornography in business meetings, according to some reports, finally drew a line in the sand. First, Gap terminated its partnership with Yeezy Gap. Then, and most significantly, Adidas announced in October 2022 that it was severing ties with Kanye West. This wasn't just a slap on the wrist. This was a $1.5 billion hit to his estimated net worth. Adidas, which had absorbed substantial losses from unsold Yeezy inventory, simply couldn't continue to be associated with his escalating anti-Semitic rhetoric. They stated explicitly, "Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect and fairness." Imagine building something worth billions, something that defined your business identity, and then watching it essentially evaporate because of your own words and actions. It's a stark, brutal lesson in the power of public perception and the non-negotiable values that major corporations are eventually forced to uphold. Even his more independent ventures like the Donda stem player faced controversy. He made his album Donda 2 exclusive to the $200 device, prompting outrage from fans who felt it was a blatant cash grab and leading to widespread piracy. The company that co-invented the stem player eventually dissociated from him after his anti-Semitic statements. It was a domino effect, and it was devastating. From a business perspective, it's a case study in how a founder's personal brand, when it veers into hate speech and unacceptable behavior, can completely undermine the commercial value of even the most successful enterprise. So what can we, as business professionals, as aspiring entrepreneurs, as just people trying to navigate this complex world, learn from Kanye West's astonishing journey? First, and perhaps most obvious, the power of a unique brand and vision. Kanye, whatever you think of him, is undeniably unique. He cultivated a distinct aesthetic, a nonconformist attitude, and a relentless drive to disrupt. He proved that authenticity, even if polarizing, can build a devoted following and create massive market demand. He didn't just follow trends, he set them. He saw himself as a disruptive force, and he truly was. Second, and this is crucial, the double-edged sword of the personal brand. Kanye leveraged his celebrity, his personality, his entire being, to sell his products. For years, this was his superpower. People bought into Kanye, and therefore they bought into Yeezy. But when that personal brand became toxic, when it crossed lines of decency and respect, it became his undoing. It's a powerful reminder that in today's interconnected world, your personal values, your public statements, and your actions are intrinsically linked to your business's success and reputation. You can build an empire on your name, but you can also lose it on your name. Third, disruption and innovation are key, but so is partnership. Kanye was a disruptor. He challenged traditional fashion houses. He redefined sneaker culture. He constantly pushed boundaries. But his biggest successes, Yeezy with Adidas, came from strategic partnerships that allowed him to scale his vision. The lesson here is that even the most singular vision often needs the infrastructure and reach of an established partner to achieve massive scale. However, those partnerships come with responsibilities and expectations. Finally, a sobering lesson. Reputation is everything, and some lines cannot be uncrossed. Regardless of his creative genius, his past achievements, or even any personal struggles he may be facing, the anti-Semitic remarks were a bridge too far. for businesses and for individuals. There are fundamental moral and ethical boundaries. Crossing them, especially in such a public and hateful manner, will inevitably lead to severe consequences, financially and otherwise. It's a powerful and tragic reminder that character, integrity, and basic human decency are paramount, even in the cutthroat world of business. You can lose hundreds of millions of dollars in a blink if you forget that. Kanye West's journey to wealth and success, and then his dramatic fall, is a story unlike almost any other. It's a testament to incredible talent and audacious ambition, but also a stark illustration of the destructive power of unchecked rhetoric and profound controversy. He built a multi-billion-dollar empire that reshaped fashion and culture. But then, through his own actions, watched a significant portion of it crumble. It leaves us with a question: what is the true cost of artistic freedom? And where does personal responsibility begin when your words carry such immense weight? His story isn't over, and it continues to unfold. But the lessons from his Yeezy empire's rise and fall are undeniable. Thank you for tuning in to The Wealth Architect. Remember, we drop new episodes every single day at 7 p.m., delving into more incredible and often tumultuous business journeys. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep an eye on that moral compass.